So have you spent a lot of time in Michigan before? Have you been?
Yes, I did a movie called Harold and Kumar. Downtown, where they had a casino. So every time they looked for me, go to the casino, every time I was gambling in. So I lost all my per diem there.
So who was in here for the Reno 911 panel just now? I guess you. So Thomas Lennon, who was here, he was in that film with you, the Harold and Kumar movie. Thomas Lennon, and he says he met you in the gym.
In which?
In the hotel, Harold and Kumar.
Oh yeah.
In Michigan.
Well, that was like just so much fun. That was like a crazy movie, and I enjoyed it. This place was just so good. Yeah, everybody was. It's supposed to be winter, right? It's at Christmas, and it's not. And so we used to have a crowd every evening on the other side of the street where we were filming, and they were all quiet. They were all like really kind and good to us. Should I come over for dinner? Yeah. So I ate all over Detroit.
Awesome. Michigan hospitality. So I want to ask you about a lot of things. But do we have any fans of the movie Heat in here? Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, the late great Val Kilmer, Henry Rollins was a little part of that, and Danny Trejo. What can you tell me about even the process of? I mean, obviously you've been acting at that point. How did you get connected to Michael Mann and Heat, and what was that process like?
Michael Mann did a movie in Folsom Prison. It was called The Jericho Mile. And all the Caucasian inmates showed up, and all the African Americans showed up, but none of the Mexicans. And you can't do a prison movie without Mexicans. And he said, what happened? What happened? So some of the guys told me, you got to talk to the guys that are in charge. And they had to talk to my Uncle Gilbert and another guy named Gilbert. There were about 4 different gentlemen in charge of that population, and he ended up making friends with my Uncle Gilbert. In fact, Michael Mann won't admit it, but he paid my Uncle Gilbert SAG wages for the 3 weeks that they were there. So my uncle was smoking big cigars, and his name was Gilbert. So when I went out for Heat, as I went there, and he just said, Gilbert, it's my uncle who passed away. Oh, man. So we started doing the film, and it was funny because me and Eddie Bunker ended up armed robbery consultants on that, because we had some experience. And so, but it was funny because he kept calling me Gilbert. Finally, he said, can I call you Gilbert in this movie, because I just think of Gilbert every time I see it. Yeah, so if you notice in Heat, it says, Danny Trejo, Gilbert Trejo, played by Danny Trejo. So that was my uncle. My whole family cried when they saw his name, so it was kind of a good gesture for him.
I mean, there's a lot of great moments in that film. It's literally one of the greatest movies ever filmed.
It did. It was like my dying scene was like comic. That's the first time I ever.
That's the next thing I was going to ask you.
I died good. I've had a lot of experience in movies, but it's funny because when we were talking, me and Robert De Niro were sitting down, and he says, hey, Dad, how do you play this? I don't know, Bob. I don't know, Bob. What do you think? And he told me, he said, I think you're already dead. You're basically dead. You just got enough. Just enough to tell me what's going on and you're going to kill me. For a split second, I was like, I don't think so. I don't think that's the way I see it. I said, yeah, that's it. That's the way I see it. And so that was the death scene. And the death scene was a comedy.
When I looked at, he asked about, Gilbert asked about his old lady, and then once he knows that she's dead, then he's like, well.
That was like in that comics, he was like a man.
Absolutely. I watched this video on YouTube not that long ago where it was, obviously Christopher Nolan is incredible, but it was comparing scenes from The Dark Knight.
Zant's here.
Who's here?
That guy that played Van Zant in Heat. Gilbert, what's his name? Van Zant, the bad guy in Heat.
Oh, he's here in Astronomicon.
Huh?
What, a Wayne Grove?
No, not Wayne Grove. Van Zant was the guy that hired Wayne Grove. But Van Zant was the guy that, busted his window when he killed him.
William Fincher, who's also in The Dark Knight.
Yeah, he's in the,
I didn't know he was here.
Not
I
here,
don't know,
no.
he's not here, but he's in the Comic-Con.
Go find him.
Good guy.
Great actors.
He dies good too, not good.
I also, of course, I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions for Jan, so definitely not going to hog it all, but we all want to talk about From Dusk Till Dawn.
And from dusk to dawn, when Selma was pouring that booze down her leg, and Quentin was keeping it off her toes, if you would look in the audience, every man in that theater would.
The best thing about that scene when you're watching it is knowing that Quentin Tarantino wrote the script.
Yeah, that was good.
So you had obviously a great working relationship with Robert Rodriguez going way back.
We found out Robert Rodriguez is the second cousin. I didn't know it. I casted for him in Venice. He had an office in Venice. I had just gotten off the weight pit in Venice as kind of puffed up. I walked in a tank top, it was just off the beach, and I walked in, and she said, "You remind me of the bad guys in my high school." And I said, "I am the bad guys." And this was San Antonio, and that's where my family was from. So we started talking, and he just handed me a knife and said, "You just twirl that." So I got on a plane actually, twirling before 9/11, and I had a little knife this big, and I'm twirling it all the time. And I got him, and I remember getting on the guy, "Hey, you can't get that because it's for a movie." And so anyway, Robert, we were filming in Acuña, Mexico, and all my family was from San Antonio, so they came down to visit me. And I remember my uncle, Rudy, he said, "Who's that?" I said, "That's Robert Rodriguez, it's the director." My uncle goes, "Hey!" And yeah, okay, I'm fired. And Jill called the director. But Robert, seeing an elderly gentleman came over and we started talking. And then all of a sudden, my uncle said, "Hey, say hello to your cousin." "Okay, Robert. Nepotism, make my part bigger."
Put me in more stuff. Put me in Spy Kids. Give me a fresh chance.
I mean, unbelievable. What kind of genius he is. Robert, I'm talking about that as this was his first American movie, so nobody knew him, right? And everybody kept coming to me, autographs, pictures, and Robert said, "They think you're the star of this movie." I said, "So do I." He started talking to me about Machete then. I got these things, guys, blah, 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 blah. And then we did that one. Then I was Machete and Uncle Machete and Spy Kids. And in the big trailer for
Grindhouse.
Grindhouse, everything that's in that trailer is in the movie. Machete. You know, so he had already had that movie made. It was unbelievable the way he did it. God, you were thinking about that way back then? And he's got a life-size bust like this big in his head.
Yeah, have you ever taken a picture with that bust or
Yeah, you
staring yourself in the face?
Like as you walk into my house, you have to like see it. Got that piece of because the thing is, I did Heat, and after I did Heat, I was sitting with Robert, and Robert said, "What do you think about De Niro?" Well, Robert, I just did Heat. So, yeah, and he asked De Niro to be in Machete. Yeah. And I felt so bad. My name was number 1 on the call sheet, you know, and that's like silly because Robert De Niro was number 2. I said, God, come on, Rob, you can't. Yeah, he's just a great people to work with.
Yeah, that was the very next thing I wanted to talk to you about also is getting to make the Machete movies. I mean, the fact that they happened at all, Machete movies that you even got to make them.
Everybody's still waiting for Machete kills his face.
What do you think? Do you think we might ever get that?
He's genius. He's doing a lot of kids.
Yeah.
10 of them. And one of his producers was a director. Like mine.
Yeah, he did. Robert Rodriguez did some episodes of The Mandalorian and Boba Fett. Yeah.
They left to go into space.
Yeah.
God, that thing was so real. Honest to God, you got near, you thought it was breathing. It was like sweat, it actually perspired, and it was like, this thing bite, you know, but that one, and then that little baby Yoda, the same thing. They gave it to me, I'm holding it, my son looking at it, and then they tell me how much it's worth. Like, here, take it. That pushed movie making way up. That put it way up.
Yeah, and I love that they went practical with those creatures. And so we had something to do. Yeah. So I want to ask you also, we've had at Astronomicon over the last few years, we've had some of your fellow castmates from Sons of Anarchy here.
None of them guys knew how to ride motorcycles. They were going to teach us, right? And everybody, I came right up on my bike. But then I didn't ride a bike.
Yeah, but then we go in a Hummer every scene.
I was Rondo. Yeah, Romeo.
And you were the Ted Rowley, the Flash, Cartel, Flash, CIA. Yeah. So getting to work with that whole cast and coming in, because obviously you're coming in, the show's established, and there's a group of people who've worked together a long time. What was that like, sort of getting to know all those guys and being part of that
just
team?
all cool. Well, they knew who I was. They were just kind of cool. They kind of you're inviting somebody into your party and you like them. So it was just a lot of fun. And they were also Charlie. Awesome kid. I think he made a mistake too.
He came over. Guy Ritchie directed that. I think that was a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah. He just couldn't do your job for days. Wonderful kid.
Yeah, great actor. Well, I want to open up some questions from you here. And if you've got a question, put your hand up. And I'd love to know your name, where you're from. And if you could speak up a bit, that would help because.
Talk loud. Okay.
Sorry.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm actually from Ypsilanti. You've done a couple animated films. I just wanted to look at two.
so much fun because you can show up in pajamas. I wear makeup, nothing. And then it's so funny because a lot of actors, like, they change their voice. Every time I change mine, say, no, don't change your voice. That's what that's my acting ability. And so, like, all my characters is just me. And it's so funny that I did a film just recently. It just came out called Zootopia 2. You know, and I play Jesus, the little gecko that runs on water. But the minute I started talking, hey, everybody's like, so that's I'm not changing my voice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Back here in the hat.
Hey, my name's Brian. From MC as well. I just wanted to ask if you had any story from filming Blood In, Blood Out. It's one of my favorite movies.
Any stories from Blood In, Blood Out?
Blood In, Blood Out is kind of funny, you know, because I had a good friend of mine, George Perry, who was from San Francisco, who had been in prison in the 40s and 50s and 60s. And he did about 7 jokes in Quentin, and I had been a member of that college.
Got your
We
PhD.
were the only two that had any experience. And so when I got to the set of all these guys were like trained they were like for real actors, you know, and I showed up and they were kind of like I don't know, you don't know Strasbourg? Strasbourg, what gang is he from? And so, you know, we didn't really gel real good, you know, and then I remember George said, just wait till you get to Quentin, wait till you get to Quentin, because we all knew we were going to San Quentin. So when you get into San Quentin, you go through 2 gates, and you come in, and there's a beautiful garden, it's unbelievable, you think you're in a gorgeous hotel. And then you turn the corner, you go back to the 20s, which is, yeah, and there's 1,000 convicts standing against one wall as you walk by. And so immediately everybody starts screaming, you know, hey, who's the blonde? You know, and I go, not a blonde, I got word. And so then people started yelling my name, you know, and so all of a sudden, all them guys that knew about Strasbourg were my best friend. And these guys are brutal. I mean, literally, it was like, it's scary. You know, when you start hearing a lot of people yell that they want to kiss you. You know? and just, you know, it was like, but then after a while, we got involved, it was just great. It was just like a lot of fun. It was funny because when we got off the bus, in one scene, everybody was to say their number, you know, and so people would say their number, B9, my number, real, B948. So when I get up there, it was B948. And so everybody said B20, we're making up a number. George got off the bus and said 9799. And they go, wait, what letter? I says, I got here the word on letter. They immediately took him to the San Quentin Museum and had him give an interview of how the joint was back in the 50s and the 60s. And so George is very famous in San Quentin.
Awesome. Right here, this area.
Hi, I'm Monica from Canton. I'm wondering, you have an incredible life story, and with all the success you've had, how do you stay grounded? How do you, like, not go back on the dark path after all this time?
Well, drinking, I think,
Is that a key?
I took that to the limit, okay? I took that all the way to the state penitentiary, in fact, 4 penitentiaries. And all I gotta do is think about that. You know, that's where that took me, you know? So I just made sure to that, and besides, alcohol is very, very tricky, because like, the only time you're working out in the yard and it's hot, and man, I could go for a beer. Only problem is if you drink one beer, you get a headache in the sun. Well, two will cure that. And then once you drink two, you got a little buzz going, so, you know, so you end up, I end up back in the county jail eventually. You know? So it's like, it's a trap, you know, for me, alcohol is, so there are people that, I know people that can order let me have a drink, and the ice melts before they finish it. You know, I can't believe, hey, you guys, what are you doing? And my dad used to order a 6-pack of beer. We watched a 10-round fight. And at the end of the 10th round, one beer. And you got 5 left. And he put him in the ice box. And it's like, just, I'm not that kind of drinker, and I know that. So I just like, wait a minute, you know, I think it's alcoholism and drug addiction. It's kind of an allergy of the body coupled with an obsession of the mind. Your body's allergic to it, but your mind, give me more, give me more, give me more. End up in jail. Or die, go insane, or go to jail if you drink alcohol. But some people can drink. It's like my mom. I remember telling her, I've been sober 6 months. She says, I've been sober all my life. So it's like, it's whether you've got the disease or not. If you don't, you're fine. If you do, I suggest you find a program.
Amen. You guys have questions over here? Just want to make sure, because I hadn't looked over there.
How was it working on Breaking Bad?
Breaking Bad. How was that?
I was in London, and this guy comes in and says, "Hey, would you sign my tortoise?" Yeah. I go out to a hall. They had a Galapagos. I signed a Galapagos tortoise. Hola, DEA. I thought, God, yeah, that movie, they were supposed to give me that head.
It's at Robert Rodriguez's house. He probably got it.
What's up? My name's Jimmy. Big fan of your work, everything I've seen you in. My question is, how long was it like working at Devil's Rejects?
Oh, yeah. What was it like working with Bob?
Rob Zombie is a jewel. He's unbelievable. That guy, I think he's about 60, but if you ever get a chance to see him in concert, I think he was 12. An hour and a half, he's like banging and running across the stage. I mean, damn, this guy's in shape. You know, and I went to see him at a concert with Marilyn Manson. Yes. Okay. And this Marilyn Manson was so funny because he was like, I showed up and he comes up and hey, he comes off the stage and he gets glitter. My boy, hey, what are you a strip joint? What are you? And, it was funny, but like, they're both just like unbelievable together. And Zombie is brilliant. You know, I did the first movie we did together, I think, was Devil's Rejects. And then we did something else. Then we did Halloween. And it was funny because I was at a premiere, and somebody asked me, "Are you going to be in Halloween?" And I said, "What are you talking about? What's Halloween?" So, "Well, this guy doing a movie Halloween," and I was here. Rob was over there. You know, he was signing a ticket on board of the group, and I said, wait a minute. I went up to him and said, you better put me a Halloween. And he said, I remember they asked him, Trejo going to be a Halloween? Yeah, I'm over it.
Sounds good.
So I got an Halloween.
Yeah. Awesome. Questions, hands? Over here.
Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm from the middle of nowhere in Stockbridge, South Lansing. And I'm a big Trejo fan, but I'm also a big Muppets fan. And I've seen your name, and you're up here in a few Muppets movies. So.
What's it like working with the Muppets?
You get sucked into believing they're real. Like, yeah, we do. And wait a minute, it's a puppet. You can't take a picture of them like laying down, like not, you only take pictures if they're with they're so amazing. And the people that work with them are just jewels. They're so nice. And I mean, they have to be if you're like playing a puppet, you know. But they're just all just like great people. God, I love them. It was like so much fun. Hey, what do you mean? I'm a 3-time loser. A murderer, a killer, and a singer. that movie was so funny. But I loved it when Tina Fey was saying good night to you. Good night, Jeff. Good night. And this is good night, Danny Trejo. And I thought, wow, that name was forever, on screen.
Yeah. And I can confirm, I've gone to interview the Muppets a few times, and yeah, you totally start thinking they're real within like 2 seconds.
Watch me and the Swedish chef. Funny. I couldn't stop laughing. It was funny. We were making mole, right? And I know how to make mold. I'm giving it, and he goes, well, okay, I got my mold. You know. And, it was so funny.
Great.
My name's Eric from Lansing. I've been watching you on screen for years. You've died a lot. My question is, what is your personal favorite death on screen?
What was your favorite death on screen? For all the times you've died?
Most iconic.
Your favorite.
Was he.
Your favorite, personal favorite.
I think it was like, that was kind of like, just being around Robert De Niro was like unbelievable, you know what I mean? And for him to shoot me in that scene was just unbelievable. And just to work with those guys, funny, like, it was De Niro, Pacino, Val Kilmer, rest in peace, and Val ended up a really close friend of mine, you know, and God, he was an amazing person. Everybody in that movie was amazing. Everybody in that, Tom Sizemore, rest in peace.
Yeah, I know one of the famous stories about that film is that Val Kilmer, who was a really big movie star in his own right at that time, agreed to take way less money than he was getting if they would just put his name on the poster with Pacino and De Niro. And I thought that was really cool.
He was awesome. He was just really good. His son's really cool too.
Awesome. Time for a few more questions. All the way in the back, but you gotta speak up.
Yeah, my name is Constantino from Columbus. Just got a question because you said you usually die at the end of the movie, well, in movies when you're a bad guy, just to show that bad guys, their life doesn't end so well. In Halloween, in the Halloween 2007, you died in that, but you weren't a bad guy.
In Halloween, at first, they didn't kill me. When we first shot Iraq, they didn't kill me. And then when they watched the movie, that gave Michael Myers a redeeming quality. Because I was nice to him, and I remember that, like, they talked about it. They said that, hey, they didn't kill you. You know, and if you were they call, I remember Robert, Rob Zombie called me up and he said, Danny, you've got good news and bad news. Well, give me the good news. Well, good news is we gotta bring you back. I said, what's the bad news? You're probably gonna ask for a lot more money. And it was, my agent, he was at, but he was, but they had to bring me back and kill me. And boy, did they kill me in that. Overkill. Beat me up. But that was actually that they didn't kill me at first, and then they called me back, and that gave Michael Myers a redeeming quality. Because nobody wanted him to kill me because I was nice to him.
Yeah, that's good. I love that was for that such a smart reason, not just to have him killed. Great. How about back there?
Hi, I'm Tiffany from Shelby Township. If you got your own cooking show, what would be the first thing you would teach us all to make?
If you had your own cooking show, what is the first thing you would teach us how to make?
Tacos. It's so funny. It's like I love watching everybody eat there. The food's delicious. So we did our 10th year anniversary. Hey, down first year, because people were real finicky eaters in LA. It's like if it ain't good, yeah, we're out of here. And so we've been doing really, really well.
Great.
Last name is Trejo, so Angel. I'm from Sterling Heights, Michigan. And I remember a couple of years ago, you did a video, you were feeding things from the table. You said, oh, well, it's okay to, person said it's okay to eat, reach it all from the table. I was just wondering, because everybody else has said that we don't have too many chihuahuas. How many chihuahuas do you currently have?
How many chihuahuas do you?
Well, I've had 3, but right now, right now all I got is a sapphire terrier, Duke, with half of the pit, and then I got a pit bull named Coco, and I got a golden retriever named Max. And the pit bull is funny, scared of bugs. They talk about how mean pit bull is. This pit bull, if other dogs run this way barking, it'll run them back in. The big scared Coco's is a big old scaredy cat, but she looks vicious, right? She's this tall, about 100 pounds, and just solid muscle, and people are scared to death of her. And you could have a ball in this hand and a steak in this hand, and she'll be looking at the ball. She won't slap her with the steak. She won't take it. Throw the ball. Well, I love dogs. I mean, this guy is a brilliant director, because he had a picture of all 8 dogs sitting on the couch looking straight. And my first dog was like a genius. I can't get him to sit.
All the way in the back here.
Hey Danny, my name's Danny as well. You've been in a million things. One of my favorite characters you played that is a little bit more small or obscure. You were Roberto Rubino in Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
He doesn't know when it's coming out, if that was your question. Grand Theft Auto, he was asking about that.
Yeah, we did that a long time ago. So I like I said, I love doing those videos because they show me pajamas. It doesn't matter. I remember the little girl that died. Yeah, she's a show me the big pajamas and boots and fuzzy shoes. Okay, let's go to work. She's a king of the hill. And but I like doing that, but you've got to be like one of the major players in that to get paid good. Otherwise it's not a lot of money. But you develop a whole new audience. It's funny because like I did that movie Zootopia 2, and I played Jesus, a little lizard that runs on water. Right? That's why we call him Jesus, Jesus. And it's funny, now at the airport, it's like little Mexican, mira mama, Jesus, Jesus. Now they're calling me Jesus.
Let's see, you, sir.
Hi, I'm Ian from Nebraska, Michigan. I'm just wondering, what was your favorite anything you've ever done? Like anything.
Your favorite, of everything you've done, what was your favorite thing you've done?
My daughter's in, she's a caregiver, or caretaker. She's taking care of a little girl in Florida right now, and I just think that's another sense of game.
Love that. Probably just a couple more questions before we.
My name is Shiloh. I'm from Wisconsin. I was just wondering, since you've been in such a variety of different shows and stuff, what's it like being in a kid show and then a show for parents?
Yeah, like what are the differences doing movies and shows and stuff for kids and then doing the more adult stuff you've done? Where?
Well, usually when kids, you don't die. It's a lot more fun. It's not serious. And you can say the lines any way you want, as long as no cuss words or kind of it's cartoons are just kind of me, so it's a lot, like I said, it's a lot easier. It's a lot of fun. And, I'll do anything. I'll play a tree if you want to. Pay me more money if you put me through that. I love making movies. The whole process. I have a tough time because we have unions. And I remember one time it was starting to rain. And we were outside, they were taking all the equipment inside, so I started helping. My God, everybody was, no. What? It's raining. You can't do that. So, but I just love making movies.
Let's see, last question. Who's going to be? So, all the way right here in the back. What was your favorite part in Spy Kids?
God, that whole movie was amazing. Working with the kids cost me a fortune. Cost everybody a fortune. No, they had a cuss jar. At first they had like a little peanut butter jar, right? Then they had a jelly jar. Then they had one of those things for pickles. They made a fortune. The jar, a lot of the Griffins come for a 20.
Just so they're paid up for the next year.
So I think they made about as much money as it's funny because when we did Spy Kids, right? We did Spy Kids, the kids were like 12, and then we kind of grew up 12. And then when we were doing Machete, Daryl got a job, right? The guy that played the boy, Spikey, and so Alexa came in and said, Robert, how come I can't have a job? She said, this is kind of for grown-ups. I'm 25. And then, so he gave him a job, right? And so as we're, me, Max, and Mario, we're like standing, and the van pulls up with her big, Danny, look what Robert's coming. And she turns around and she pulls this thing, and she's got a chaps with no back. So all through, hey, wait. You forget that we know her as 12. And she got, she's a hell of a little actress. Right now she's in Hawaii with 2 gorgeous kids and her husband. So they're still making these. And Daryl, I finished another film in Hawaii. So they're still another story.
Danny, I want to say on behalf of all of us at Astronomicon, we're so honored and so thrilled that you're part of Astronomicon 9 and that you're here and everybody gets to meet you, hear your stories, take pictures, you know, and whatever it is. We really appreciate you making the time to be here.
I love you. I love you. And first of all, with you guys, and I'm not running for an airplane and having to stop beside an autograph. It's like that's what I'm here for. So it makes it like really simple. But and it's so funny because I have to when I'm not out there walking into a bathroom in a gas station. Hey, I'm not signing anything. Not shaking hands either.
Well, Danny, thank you so much for being here.